Well, glad to have you back, and it's still the transforming, thrilling, terrific Tuesday edition of the award-winning Morning Flight on the award-winning station of World XP, where there's a convergence of faith and entertainment. I did tell you before we went on the break that when we do come back, we'll be discussing one issue which perhaps is the most discussed in Nigeria as we speak. A legal practitioner with 26 years post-call experience and also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, Barrister Tunde Esan, has joined us this morning to take a look at the much discussed, much awaited, perhaps controversial tax laws which kicked off January 1 in Nigeria. Good morning, and glad to have you on this program.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you join us, sir.
Thank you too.
Okay, I'd like to ask you this. In spite of the benefits that we've seen, especially in developed climes, that are very apt with their laws, with their tax laws, and of course with compliance and all of those things, there seems to be a challenge we have here in Nigeria because, as I did say, this is the most controversial issue being discussed here in Nigeria. A lot will not even want us, will not have wanted the government to have started it January 1.
So the government didn't start it on January 1. The government started on the 26th of June,
Well,
2025.
that was when the bill...
Don't forget that there are 4 laws that we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the commencement date for 2 of them was January 1st. But the law actually came into force
June.
on the 26th of June.
I'm aware.
You know, where I'm going to with that is I'm just pulling your leg to say that most of the controversies surrounding this Tax Reform Act, as they're called now, you know, for want of a better word, is born out of, with due respect to everybody watching, it's born out of ignorance. Because if I ask us in this studio that how many of us have read these 4 laws, I won't be shocked if nobody has read it. So how do you begin to raise issues on what you've not read? You remember this thing in 1988. There was this gentleman called Salman Rushdie that wrote a book, The Satanic Verses. And a particular religion felt that it denigrated their leader.
Yes.
And a fatwa was passed on him. But I will tell you for free that most of the people who wanted to enforce the fatwa have never seen. I'm not saying read. They've never seen a copy of the Satanic Verses.
Yeah.
So when I hear all of this, oh, this one, that one, that one, I said, have you, let's even start, it's written in English. So if you are sufficiently literate in the English language, you can pick up copies of this 4 laws and read for yourself. And you're able to say, oh, there's a lot of noise here, there's a lot of exaggeration there, but I've read it. But I can tell you for free that a lot of us have not read the laws, and the starting point is, can we just pick it up? It's written in English language. It's not that technical, so that we can have a more robust conversation as a people.
What about those who can read?
No, that was what I said.
Okay.
That for those who are, because most of the people having this conversation, you know, if you go online, especially on social, they can read and write.
Okay.
You know, so I'll just say, let that be the starting point. Let's read it. So if anybody comes on and says this or says that, say, no, that wasn't what I read. No, this is not correct. No, the government is lying. No, the opponents are lying. But let's come from a place of knowledge. It will help a lot.
But you already said, you have already affirmed that there's no ignorance, it's no defense in law. I mean,
Yes.
That's what you just affirmed now. But in your view, would you say this reform is primarily a matter of widening the tax net or to capture more people, or just simplifying the process of existing taxpayers?
Because we have a problem with widening the tax net. I would say the answer is no. You know, I would say the answer is no. But what this will force all of us to do is to widen. Automatically, you are expected to voluntarily submit yourself to the tax net. As a responsible citizen, you have an obligation. In fact, you have a duty. In fact, you have, it's more than a duty. Because if you don't comport and if you don't comply, you can end up in jail. Do you understand? You have a duty to submit yourself to the tax net. But what these particular laws, what it will force you to do is to submit to the tax net. If not, you may not be able to function. I'll give an example. If you go to Section 4 of the NTAA, you know there are 4 laws. I'm talking of the administration part, Nigeria Tax Administration Act. It says that everybody, every taxable person must have and obtain a tax ID. Compulsorily.
Yes.
So let's take this studio, for example. I know it's a registered company, right? That's the studio. It says that this company cannot give a contract to anybody without that person having a tax ID, if you do that, you will pay a fine of 5 million naira. It's there. So if you want to give a contract to somebody to get a camera for you, for instance, the first thing you ask him as a company is, Oga, what is your tax ID? Because that must be contained in the invoice. So you don't want to incur a penalty of 5 million because you're trying to give somebody a contract.
Yes.
So invariably, it will force everybody into the tax net for you to be able to function.
I like where we had a conversation even before
Yes.
we came on, and one of the concerns for me is you are both a tax consultant
And a lawyer. Yes.
And we heard very, very recently that the original document that was sent to the president has been altered. What are the possibilities around this? I wouldn't call it allegation or whatever. What are the possibilities? Does it
called it allegations.
does it now mean that the current document as currently constituted is null and void?
It's illegal.
What are the implications of that particular claim by the National Assembly that there is a different document or the document has been altered?
You see, I'm worried about narratives all over the place, and I will tell you why. Do I know whether the documents were altered? I don't know. You don't know. It's an allegation by somebody or the National Assembly. I say, oh, what I would expect you to do as a National Assembly is, see, the one that you sent to the president for is assent. Just upload it. Let us have it. So I can compare and contrast with what was signed into law by the president. That's the starting point before answering the question. What documents am I comparing? Because for most of us, we're still dealing with the realm of allegation. This one said, that one said. But please upload the harmonized version of the law by both houses. You know, that's the House of Rep as well as the top one, the Senate, that is sent to the president for his assent. Then let's see the one signed by the president so we can compare and contrast. Until that is done, you know, one is a bit careful talking about this. But let us assume without conceding, I do not know for a fact. Yeah. Let us say that truly that it was altered before it was signed. Of course, it goes to no issue. It's dead. It is dead, dead, dead. And anybody can go to court to have it invalidated. So it wasn't the act of the National Assembly. And it's not even a question of regazetting, as they're saying. There's nothing to regazette. You send something to the president for his assent. That must be done. It's just insisting. Oga, what we sent to you, please sign it. Well, we need to get to the point where we're 100% certain that truly we're dealing with two different versions of the law. What has happened with these laws is that politics has crept in. A lot. Politics has crept in. So everybody else saying what suits him to gain a political advantage. Don't forget there's an election in this country next year.
Yes.
You know, so I understand the dynamics of it. It's the thing for all of us. We're all educated here. 1, 2, 3, 4 of us. If you upload the entire harmonized version I sent to the president, and if I pick the copy that I have, I can say, okay, section 30, section 40, section whatever, they are not the same. It's that simple. When we get to that point, the president doesn't have that capacity. He doesn't have that power to single-handedly alter the bill that was. It's not his function. Then we can say, okay, it's not even, that law goes to no issue. I mean, anybody can go to court to have it nullified. So for me, it's gone beyond regazetting. I don't know what that means in English. Yeah. You know, we like to come up with words. You know, we have the National Assembly. Sign what we sent to you, sir.
I'm sure you'll know what this one is called.
No.
Let me go. Because with over 26 years, you will know what this one is called.
Yes.
And I want you to help us with some education, really.
Okay.
What's income tax?
Okay.
And how progressive will it be? That's one. Two, bank transfers have been bandied here and there. Will all bank transfers be taxed? And if no, what will you describe as unexplained inflows? When they said, okay, fine, some transfers that probably will not be with tax might be unexplained inflows.
Okay, let's break it down. Even before talking about income tax, what is tax as a whole?
That's why I said you'll know this one.
Let's even go back to what is tax. The government is saying, and I'm not going by dictionary definition, I'm going by the way it impacts us and it affects us. The government is saying, because I'm government, because there's a law that backs me, I can take a portion of your income, of your profit, of your gain. That's what the government is saying. The only thing that I need to do that is for the laws to back me to do that. And the laws are there. And it says, I can take a portion of your income, of your gain, of your profit. That's the law is there. If it's not backed by law, the government cannot do it. All right, so let us. Now, whether I agree with the law, I disagree with the law, it's another matter entirely. That's why people can go into tax advocacy to say, oh, that's this tax, is this, that tax, is that. But if the law backs me as the government to take a portion of your income, of your gain, of your profit, and all of that, I can do that. That is where we are. So, like he asked me, what is income? You know, income is money earned, money that I have. In fact, this particular set of laws, they're very interesting because almost everything is treated as an income. Whatever comes to you is treated as an income. So if I'm done right now, you say, okay, oh, Tunde, thank you for coming. Have this 100 naira as honorarium. It becomes my income. A tax will be levied on it.
So what, no, he has not gone to the second one. What if that is tagged gift?
That's the point. You know what they've done with this law? And it says any other source. It didn't use the word gift. Every other thing. If I win a prize, let's say you do a competition here now, we say, okay, who can juggle the ball the most? Whoever wins gets 100 naira. That price is taxable under this new law. They so listed it that almost everything. So at the end of the day,
I need you to.
what will now become gifts? They didn't use the word gift. What will now become gifts?
Wait. If in the narration,
It's not about
it
the
is
narration.
hold on, sir.
Okay.
If in the narration it is gift or support, let's say okay, I do the transfer now. Oh, thanks for coming. And in that narration, in that of the transfer, it's gift or support. Will it be taxed? Yes or no?
No, I want to say yes or no. You know the challenge with the narration you've done. You assume that your narration is the final word. And I hear that a lot. Oh, all you have to do is just to do the narration. No, it's not. It's going to be. You know, there was something that Taiwo said. He said, I may not be very concerned with your narration. The narration is good, you know, for the purpose of transfer. It's good, but that's not the end of it. Because you can narrate it to be anything. The government can say, no, it is not that thing.
How will the government know?
That's the point.
Because it's you. The transaction is between yourself and myself.
Yeah.
You said thanks for coming, I said thanks for coming, and I sent
So
the
that
thing.
thanks for coming, what is it called? Thanks for coming to do what?
My brother can come and see me and say thanks for coming.
You know the thing is this. Let's use me as an example. I'm here with you today. I'm leaving and you just say, oh, Mr. Edison, thank you for coming. Take this 100 naira. You know and I know. And the government will say, there's no definition you want to give to it. I will treat it as an honorarium. I will treat it as an income. And that is the challenge. In fact, there's a provision that says any other source of income. Now, how do you begin to define income? If it is so listed, if it's so wide, because it's very, very wide now, that almost everything considers. So it doesn't matter what your narration is. What I will ask you to do, anybody watching us, is this. Please, state clearly, have a book of account. Have every day when you wake up and you send 1 naira out, state clearly what that 1 naira is for. And like you rightly said, if you now say it's not for that thing, how will you know? Maybe I'm the one saying it. It now becomes your word against my word. But you have something to work with. Did you understand what I'm saying? Ensure you learn how to put things in writing, how to keep books of account. Learn that. That will help you a lot. In fact, when you go through the 4 laws, it talks about keeping records a lot. Keeping records a lot.
I agree with that. Sorry, I agree with that. But for every transfer I make, I'll be keeping
Keep the records. Keep the record of every money you earn, every money you spend. Keep the record. You know what will happen? Because if you can't account for the money, and the government is looking at your bank account because they have access to it, and they're saying, hey sir, 20 naira is there. How do you confront it? By your records. I mean, look at what you've said. You said instead of tagging this thing as income, we're done now, and you said, Tunde, take this 100 naira. You're not tying it to what do you call it? To disappearance.
Yeah.
You're just saying, guy, take the 100 naira. And I say it's a gift. And you say it's not a gift. We can start the argument. But there's a starting point. You've not tagged it as anything. You've not tagged it as honorarium. You just said, oh, I gifted you this.
Okay.
So how do you confront that if there's no record? One of the things that these laws will force us to do is to keep records. If I ask you, for instance, sorry, sir, if you run a business and I say to you, how much did you spend last year on recharge card? You can't tell me. You don't know. If I ask you how much you spent on recharge card from the beginning of this year, you can't tell me. You don't know. Because it doesn't matter to you anyway. But it will matter. You know, wait. Say you run a company. Wait. You see what I see all the time is that we don't have a sense of record keeping as a people. It's not a culture. It's not. That's why you can step out there and you see the. I won't go. This is church. I wanted to go into one area. Okay, well, we can talk, right? I mean, that the beauty of this place is that it's freedom of expression is encouraged. And I say, I'm giving $1 million as gift to my man of God. As seed. Let's say as a company, I'm giving $1 million to my man of God as seed. Is it tax deductible? The answer is no. Now, because you know it's not tax deductible, that helps you in what we call tax planning, how to engage your income. Because most of the things that, do you know the things that are tax deductible? Do you know the ones that are not tax deductible? I ask you, I said, look, if you run a company, how much did you spend on recharge card? Now, how do you claim that money as part of expenses spent in running your business if you don't even know, if you don't have records of it? You know? How do you know? How much fuel did you spend on your car for the purpose of your business last year? You don't know. How does it become tax deductible? So you have so much money you're going to pay to the government because you can't claim them back. You don't have records of them. So I will just beg everybody. It's going to be tough. Because what these laws will do, I see it all the time, everywhere I go to. I think we're not dealing with new laws, so to speak. We're dealing with compliance issues. You will pay tax. Oh, believe me, you will pay tax this year. Not because these taxes have never been there, but because they've never been enforced. We're now at a place where somebody is saying, you know what, we enforce it. We enforce. They're not new. Most of these things are not new. You had asked me, you had asked me whether, what is progressive income tax? No, so when we're talking about, let's talk about the personal income tax, for instance. Now, what it says is, it starts from 0 to 25%. 0 to 25%. So the government says, if you earn 800,000 naira per annum, you won't pay tax. All right? Yeah. 0 tax. But you ask yourself, what constitutes any? Because if you don't know what constitutes income, you will treat your entire 800,000 as income. Do you get what I'm saying? But if you've removed all the deductibles that the laws allow you to deduct, your 800,000 may not be more than maybe 500,000, 400,000. But because you don't know, they say, oh, I earn 800. Well, you don't.
But can you give an insight into what the deductibles are?
Okay, let's deal with personal income tax, for instance. The government says 800,000, that's what you're earning. If you're not careful, let's say you've earned 801,000, you've jumped over the 800.
The threshold, yeah.
So 801,000 now. 801,000. So you're dealing with a 15% tax rate. All right? Well, why are you at 801? By the time you do your deductibles, you shouldn't even be there in the first instance. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So you say, what are the examples? The government says, we have what is called a rent relief allowance, for instance. Rent relief allowance, which is either 20% of your annual rent or 500,000, whichever is lower, you're allowed to deduct it.
Okay, from the income.
Rent.
Yes.
From the income.
From the income.
Now, look at the challenge with that. And this is where it's going to get funny. You talk about rent relief allowance of 20% of your rent. Let's say your rent is 3 million. If you do 20% of that, that would probably be about 600, right? Yeah. Or 500,000, whichever is lower. So the one you will go for is 500,000. That's the one the government will recognize. 20% of your rent of 500,000 naira, whichever is lower, for the purpose of deduction. The government will only ascribe 500,000 naira to you because it's lower than your actual 600,000. But what if you live in your own house? You lose that 500,000 automatically.
But what about land rates?
No, we'll come to that. I'm just looking at, let's just look at this challenge that this rent relief alone has posed. It says rent relief. So what if I live in my own house?
Then we'll start extrapolating around.
That's not to extrapolate. It simply means that I'm now entitled to that.
But there's a cost in owning a house. Who bears it?
That's your, sorry, I was going to say, that's not your problem. Well, do you understand? What I'm saying is, what will then happen, with due respect, is everybody will be a tenant.
Wait, what?
Become a tenant
become a tenant.
automatically.
You understand what I mean? Because
Oh my
when things are hard, what it does is that it forces the people to think. And the thinking may not always be in the positive direction. Because 500,000 naira is a lot of money. We may not have a lot of respect for money, but 500,000 is a lot of money. And somebody is saying, I'm going to lose this because I'm living in my own house, or I'm being housed by. And you know what the government wants to do with that is that the name of your landlord will be there now. They want to catch your landlord so that they bring him to the tax net. Do you get what I'm saying?
The more I think about this, the function of accountability comes to
No,
mind.
that's what it's all about.
Yes, because again,
Records.
They say he comes with clean hands to equity. He who wants equity. Because I'm taking a bit of a detour here because we've been compelled to act prim and properly.
That's all.
Yes, we've been compelled to do that. But you see, it takes two to tango.
No, it doesn't.
It does, because...
I'm not here to defend the government, mind you.
I know. In other climes, I don't like the term SENA climes. In other climes, you have well-structured taxation, and people are seeing the effect of the tax.
You assume that tax is quid pro quo, that because I've done this, government is going to do that.
No, but it should be.
Again, you are going to the realm of what should be and what shouldn't be. We are dealing with the realm of the taxes that you have to pay now.
Okay, sorry,
because that conversation
because what
we must
you are
have
saying
it.
is where I'm coming from. But
We must have that conversation.
But I
at
wanted
some
to
point.
actually add a little bit of argument to it. Now, there is a popular argument about the Nigerian Constitution in general.
Okay.
And that's the Section 2.
Okay.
That talks about, what the government is expected to do for the people.
Which are
And
non-justiciable.
it's injusticiable.
Yeah, so you can't force that.
We can't force it.
Yeah.
So don't you think that we should first of all
Again,
go and
you
address that
are
part?
going into the realm of what should be and what should not be. So your chapter 2 of your constitution is saying, these are the things that the government should do. But you can't go to court.
can't even hold them
No, you
accountable
can't.
to
You
it.
can't. So let's leave that. Let's concentrate on what these tax laws will do to you. So that's why I would like to conclude his questions when he spoke about the progressiveness of the tax. So it's about if you earn 800,000 naira, for instance, 0 to 800,000 naira, you're not paying tax on that. But if you're not careful, and I see that we overpay taxes, we don't take advantage of the allowable deductions. Your rent relief allowance is there. Your NHIS is there. That's the health insurance is there. Your housing fund contribution is there. Your life insurance is there. These are all deductible items. You're supposed to, your pension fund contribution is there. And somebody is saying, when you look at your pension fund, when you look at your pension contribution, your contribution is 8%, right? But that is the minimum. You can jack it up in order to reduce your taxable income. You can increase it to 20, whatever. Those are the things you begin to look at in order to bring down your taxable income. You should look at that. You'll be forced to be accountable. So, for instance, now, maybe I've contributed X sum towards owning a house of my own under the National Housing Fund. Maybe I pay X sum towards health insurance, towards life insurance. Who deducts that? Nobody. You still place your taxable income as at what you are earning. But the government is saying, go to your tax laws. These are liable deductions. If you're not taking advantage of it, don't blame me. Don't blame the government. The government is not going to calculate it for you as long as it favors them. It's only when they think that you under-declare your income or you're not paying income, that's when they come after you. But if they think you're overpaying, it's thank you, God bless you.
But
Okay, hold on, sorry. How does this impact those who are not rich, those who are vulnerable?
On the surface, and I'll tell you something, on the surface, this would be the best law ever for the poor. But again, maybe we're throwing up figure. Let's even say that you've done all your deductions, all your liable deductions. I'm talking of personal income tax, and we're at 800,000. What does that translate to in a month? Do your maths. What does that translate to? Exactly. My driver earns more than that sum. Yeah. When you draw up 800,000, it's almost sounding like you're dealing with a month. But that's playing with figures.
That's below the minimum wage.
Yes, it is. You're playing with figures because if you're dealing with, if you say the minimum wage is 80 and you do times 12, that's about what? For those who are mathematicians, that's whatever that sum is.
About 960.
960.
Yeah.
So you are dealing with 800, which is even below the minimum wage. So if you break down 800, now I'm assuming that you've done all your deductions. And let's say what you have is 800. If you break that down by 12, 50, 60, I don't know what the math is.
Yeah.
50, 60, yeah.
After
How
deductions.
many people are earning 60,000. Almost everybody earns beyond that. Really?
No,
Almost
no.
everybody.
You'll be shocked.
No. I mean, I'm talking of structured organizations. What?
And that's a miserly 2% of the entire population.
You know what I'm trying to do?
Yes.
Don't throw figures. When you break these things down into their component parts, they're not as nice, because what you hear out there is that, oh, the vulnerable, the poor, they're going to benefit. I say, okay, fine, on the face of it. If you're paying me 800,000 naira per month, okay, fantastic. But you're dealing with 800,000 naira per annum. So if you break it out to 60,000 naira, really, nobody should be there. Nobody should be there. So you are saying from 0 to 800,000, or your first 0 to 800,000 naira, go home free. I'm not taxing you. All right? The next one is 801,000 to 3 million. You know, I would do you a tax at the rate of 15%. Now, the way it is done is, it's not that if you earn 801,000, I'm going to place 15% on it. No, it's the next. Don't forget that there's 800,000 that is not taxable.
Yeah.
So what is left to be taxed at 15% is just 1 naira.
It's 1 naira, yeah.
It's not 801,000 that you're going to place.
Like that,
yes. You know? So by the time you get to the upper limit, which is 25%, you must earn. What we're dealing with is about 50 million naira. All right? Believe me, you see the 21, 23, 25% bracket. A lot of Nigerians are not there.
They are not there.
You know?
True.
In fact, less than 3% of Nigerians.
Yes, the IRS chairman has actually enumerated
NRS now.
NRS now.
NRS.
Yes, he had enumerated that it actually benefits the poor more, because the rich get to pay higher, those who earn more money. But it's a concern for me, and I would like to actually get your view, you know, before we go further on this show. We spoke about it, and you said it's not important for us to continue with that. And that's the plight of the people, right? Who cannot ask government? You are a lawyer, and that's why I'm bringing it to you now. We cannot ask. The government has the right to make laws and implement those laws, and it goes on. Now, for the citizens, who will fight for them? They cannot enforce anything.
In like 1 minute.
I'm not saying people shouldn't fight for their rights. I'm not saying that people should not hold government accountable. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you today is that I hear people say, we won't pay the tax. You will pay the tax.
You will. It's
You will pay.
Now, whether you want to burn down the country, or you want to fight, or you want to go to court, that's your... No, I don't want to use the... That's an option, if you think it's an option. Okay. But don't let anybody mislead you that you have a right not to pay taxes. No.
Thank you so much. Don't let anybody mislead you.
That you have a right not to pay tax.
No, you don't.
That's been our show this morning. I'm sure you've enjoyed it, because we've actually also enjoyed the program. Yes, it's been the thrilling, transforming, terrific Tuesday's edition of the award-winning Morning Flight and award-winning Session Love World XP, whether it's a convergence of faith and entertainment. We'll be here again tomorrow, bigger, better, fresher, hotter, and stronger. My name is Shegun, with a son that has a rhythm, Adebo Wale.
My name is Christopher Siobi.
It's Tunde.
Eson.
And I am Olugbenga George.
See you tomorrow, bright and early.
Bye.